Jordan Belfort's selling system changed the game for me as a final expense telesales agent. I went from zero to hero by applying the stuff I'm gonna go over in this video right here, so stay tuned. As always, subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you find value in this content. First, what I'm going to go over is the 3 elements of a successful sale that Jordan Belfort talks about. There's 3 levels of certainty and 3 levels of trust that you have to build with the client. So this changed the idea for me because I went from just selling the product and trying to get someone to like me to understanding why that actually happened. So in order for someone to buy, they have to be certain on the product. So they have to like what you're selling. Sometimes I would catch myself trying to sell insurance to people who didn't even like the idea of insurance. The product wasn't even a good fit for them. So like if I talk to clients, for example, the other day I had a woman that I spoke with, she just bought her house in cash. I looked up the address, it was a $450,000 house. Do you think she needs a final expense policy? I don't think so. So I moved on. I hung up with her. That product wasn't a good fit for her. In the past, I would have just tried to keep going and say, hey, I'm going to swing the bat anyway and see if I can hit the ball. But it doesn't really make sense because she's not going to buy it. She has absolutely no need for the product. Number 2, they got to trust you. So you build trust with the client through rapport. So Jordan Belfort talks about this being done in 2 ways. He talks about being done subconsciously through tonality, which I'm going to get into in a minute here. And he also talks about it being done by talking to the client about things that they can relate to and things that they like, and just having kind of a conversation with someone and hitting the heartstrings with them and relating to them. And then the next is the prospect must trust and connect with the company. This requires you to aim for compatibility between your company and the client. And this also helps establish rapport as well. The client has to like you, they have to like the company, they have to like the product in order for them to buy. Now what he talks about is that everyone has a different level of certainty that they have to reach on those things in order to decide that they want to make the purchase. For me personally, I'm an easy sale. If I'm like a 5 or a 6 sold on something, then I'm gonna buy it. And if I kind of get a good feel for it, I'm probably gonna buy it. Other people, like my dad, man, you can't sell that guy anything if it's not like 10. He's got to be 100% certain on everything to buy it. I'm not like that. Okay, so you want to look at the 3 tenets, is what Belfort calls it. When you're in your sales presentation, make sure that you are increasing the client's certainty on the product. You want it to be a 10 out of 10 sold on the product. You want it to be a 10 out of 10 sold on you, and you want them to be a 10 out of 10 sold on the company. Do that. As long as there's the decision maker, you should be able to make the sale, or you'll at least come a lot closer. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the first 4 seconds of the sales presentation. You want to be so enthusiastic that you are knocking these people out of their chair. Now, what I did is I went from my greeting, where I went from face to face, where you call someone and you're kind of nonchalant, almost monotone about bringing someone through the sales presentation. Now, when I applied that to telesales, I fell flat on my face. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm able to set all these appointments, but now I'm not able to make these closes on the phone. And then I stumbled upon Jordan Belfort's first 4 seconds principle. Now, what this means is that in the first 4 seconds of that phone call, you have to be sharp, enthusiastic, and knowledgeable in your field. So you got to be an expert, you got to be on the ball, and you got to be enthusiastic. So what's that mean? I'm like, okay, you know what? It's kind of like a dog and pony show here. I'm going to have to increase my enthusiasm and almost act like it's a play. So how's my greeting start? Hey, John. Hey, John, it's Justin. How you doing today, man? I am on the ball. I sound confident. I'm excited to talk to the client. I'm excited about my product. I'm excited about the company I work for. I'm excited about myself. So that's how you want to have your presentation. First 4 seconds. You got to nail that. That enthusiasm blasts through objections. You'll see, because people are like, man, this guy sounds pretty cool. Like, I kind of want to talk to this person. Maybe this person can help me solve a problem that I have in my life, which is exactly what you're there to do, which is what you want them thinking. So nail the first 4 seconds. Once I got this down, Jordan, thank you. Once I got this down, my sales game totally changed, and I was able to just, man, my closing ratio went up so much. Number 2. Tonality. Now, on the phone, we don't have the being able to use body language. When you go to the home, you know, if you're a guy, you can kind of put something super nice on. If you're a girl, maybe you can kind of put something super nice on. But when you're on the phone, all you have is your tone. They don't know what you look like. And people are a lot more defensive and on guard on the phone than in person, face to face, trust me. So your body language has to affect the subconscious mind of your prospect to influence your sale. So if you see the way I'm talking to you right now, I am enthusiastic, I'm passionate, I'm pumped up, and I love this stuff. And that's how you have to be talking to your client. So Jordan Belfort has a few different types of tonalities that he talks about in his straight line selling system that you are going to want to learn. He talks about the money aside tone. He talks about it's like a leading tone. So you're gonna want to learn about these things and research on it, but your tonality and the way that you say things impacts the way the client feels about it so much. Like, I can't even tell you how much it impacts the closing and getting someone sold on the product and having them understand how important it is for them to get this coverage. And it's nothing unethical that you're doing. Like, we sell a good product and a good service, and I'm a good person. I'm helping someone get my product, and if I don't help them get my product, I'm not providing them a service. Tonality is huge. It's literally like 80% of what you're saying here. You can almost have no clue about insurance at all and have good tonality and make a sale because someone's going to connect with you. You can tell how someone feels about something by the way that they say the words. Oh yeah. And you have to get the words down. And you know what? I don't even care if you're not sold on your product. I don't even care if you're not sold on you. I don't even care if you hate the company that you're with or the IMO, but you better sound like you love them. That's all. You don't have to really feel that way. Just sound like you do, okay? That's really the basics of it here. Next, the third thing is state management. State management means getting positive all the time. So what do? I write down my goals every single day. I have a stack of about 200 pieces of paper in this drawer right here of the last more than half a year of me writing down my goals every single, it's almost a year front and back on each page. It's over a year. I write down my goals every single morning. I get focused on them and I imagine them being done already, and I say, what is this stuff gonna get? What is this gonna get for me? Because that is what gets me in a positive state to wake up and crush the day. I have so much stuff to do every single day, so many decisions to make. The only way that I can be prepared to do that and help my agents close deals, which I do all day long, is by getting in the right state and saying, you know what? I have all this stuff. I am a winner. I'm gonna crush the day. And I am going to take advantage of my life. And you know what? I'm going to win at all costs because that's what I am. I'm a winner. And I hope everybody on here is a winner too. And you have to adopt that mentality and that mindset. And Jordan Belfort's state management techniques really, really help on how you can attain the goals that you are looking to achieve before you attain them and how you can get into that mindset. So that is huge because you communicate that positivity and that confidence on the phone to your clients. Next is looping. Now, number 4, looping. Looping is the gold holy grail of closing. Like, I don't care. I haven't seen another single sales guru out there, and I've studied most of them, who has closing like Jordan Belfort. Now, yeah, he did sell the penny stocks, and he had some unethical things he used to do, which I don't agree with. You don't rip people off. But look there's no denying that this technique works absolutely incredibly. So the way that it works in a looping close, you can handle any objection with a loop. And what it really does, it goes back to those 3 levels of certainty that I talked about in the beginning. Client gives you, example here, client gives me pushback. I gotta talk to my wife. Hey, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question here. Do you like the idea of a program like this for your wife? Does it make sense to have a life insurance plan like this to leave some money? Like, do you feel like this is a good fit for your family? Everything else aside? So what you're doing here is you're evaluating how the client is on the certainty on the product, and then you're going to evaluate how they are on the certainty on you, if they trust you, right? Because if they're a 10 out of 10 on you, then they trust you. And then you're going to evaluate how they are on the company. You try to build up all those values. So what happens is when you quote someone in the close, with the looping system, you assume they're going to give you an objection. That's the key to this whole thing, is like, I know they're going to give me an objection, so I'm going to be ready for it. And I can say one thing that's going to handle every objection. So you ask the client, hey, you give the client 3 quotes, which of these works best? Actually, Belfort's technique is a little different. You give the client 3 quotes, you recommend the middle option, because most people are going to gravitate towards the middle anyway. So you recommend the middle one. Now, and you justify it. Now, I recommend you do this much because it's going to cover X, Y, and Z for your wife when you die. Sound fair enough? The guy says, no, I got to talk to my wife. Number one, immediately evaluate if he even likes the product. Because if he doesn't like the product, there's nothing you can do about it. If he doesn't like the insurance. So, hey, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Do you like the idea of an insurance program like this? Does it make sense? Do you feel like this is a good fit for your family? He says, oh, yeah, for sure. Now, if they say no, or they don't seem enthusiastic at all, then you may kind of be stuck in the water there. But as long as they say yes with some sort of a positive tone, you keep going. Say, okay, awesome. Now, exactly, the true beauty of this program is that unlike most plans out there, this one will kick in the day you make your first payment. All right, and the rates will never change. It's a whole life. So you want to agree, and then go over a couple more features of the plan to increase their certainty even more on the program. You're kind of reselling, okay? You're looping back through the presentation. That's what's happening here. And then after you present those things, you say, now let me ask you a question here. Obviously then, if I was your wife, which would be a little weird, then you wouldn't be saying, let me think about it and talk to someone else. You two would sit down, figure out what worked for you, and if something did, then you'd come to an agreement and move forward, right? They say, yeah. So what you're doing there is, in the loop, you're asking, if I was a trusted advisor, would you trust me with doing this with you? And they say, oh yeah, of course. Essentially, that's what you're saying. And you say, exactly. You know, I can understand that. And then you talk about a few positive traits about you and what you like about you. And then you talk about the company and what's good about the company. So you increase the value in the product, yourself, and then the company. And then you ask them to go with the lowest coverage amount that you quoted them. At that point, they either agree, or they usually take a higher coverage amount if they do agree than what you recommended them, or they give you pushback again, and then you have to keep running through it to try to handle that objection and close them. I usually wait till I get about 5 or 6 no's. Now, there's 10 rules that Belfort has to follow, and I absolutely love these because they help me just feel better about the sales process and kind of take some weight off my back. Number one, I'm not going to waste my time on trying to convert buyers that are unlikely, or don't even like the idea of insurance, or that are unpassionate about it, or just grouchy or angry. Like, I'm not going to sit there on the phone with someone and try to get them to buy if they're just like if they're totally reluctant to even talk to me. So other sales gurus talk about, oh, swing the bat every time. If you don't swing the bat, you can't hit the ball. Yeah, but like, you know, you're hitting a ball that's not even being pitched. Like, there has to be a pitch there too, you know, so to hit the ball. So don't waste your time on people that are just super negative or grouchy, or like, I don't even find I ever convert those people, if rarely ever, and if I do, I end up being pissed off at the end of the call anyway. Another thing, get an okay. Number two, get an okay from your prospect before asking questions. So be like, all right, I'm gonna ask you a little bit about your health. Is that okay with you? Yes, great. And then you go in. So you get an okay when you ask a question, so that they kind of feel like you're building a little bit of trust with them, and they're involved in the process, and they're like, hey, this person's considerate about how I feel about the things that I'm going to be going over. Use a script. Number three, use a script. I recommend this to everybody and all agents. When I hire someone and they go, I don't read a script, it's like, bro, then you ain't making money. I hate to break it to you. If you're not using a script, you ain't making money, or making as much money as you could. Because everyone I know who crushes it learned from a script or uses a script, and that's what they use to make their sales. I mean, they use a script. The script is like the road to the sale. So I recommend everyone use a script. I recommend all my agents to use a script. I firmly believe in a script. Number four, start with less invasive rapport building. So as you are going into your questions and you're starting to build rapport with the client in your fact finding, you want to start with the less invasive questions first, and then increase in a gradient scale of invasiveness. Also, think about your tonality when you're asking a question, and you want to ask things and reply with empathy. So if you're someone's like, oh, I've had cancer. Don't be like, okay, was that less than 2 years ago? Or say, oh my gosh, man, how'd you get? Thank you for letting me know that. How was that for you? I mean, how's the recovery been? So you want to be empathetic. You want to express that in your tone. It's very easy to be focused on the insurance, but we got to understand we're dealing with real people here. Okay. Number 6 is use body language. You can't really use body language because you're on the phone, but you can use tonality. And like I said before, I totally agree with Belfort on the tonality aspect of it. 8, you want to begin by amplifying a pain point. that your product will solve. So you talk about, hey, in the beginning, what's this going to do? What's going to happen when they pass? Ask questions about what their family will do if they don't have this money. They don't have a policy. How easy will it be for them to get this money? You want to amplify that pain point and build it up so that you can provide a solution to what they're going to face. And look, this isn't messed up. It's not unethical. What's unethical is you not doing this and the person not getting insurance and them dying and their family not having the money and having to start a GoFundMe account and pass the basket at church and all this other stuff and essentially beg for money from their neighbors that instead of just being responsible and getting a life insurance policy. Number 9, use effective transitions. So I love these transitions. An example for me is when I know what someone's going to qualify for. What I say is, okay, Susie, so now based on everything that you just said to me, I got a plan that's a perfect fit for you here with XYZ company. That's a transition. When you move from one part of the sales process and one part of the script to the other, you want to use effective transitions, okay? And number 10, maintain a logical order in your conversation and try not to deviate from the purpose of the presentation when you're making a sale. It's very easy to like kind of veer off and have the balloon just float up and away. But what you want to do is keep the client on course as much as possible. Keep a steady boat flowing there. You want to go from the beginning to the end of the sale, with the end being the close, the beginning being the intro, the first 4 seconds we talked about. Every sale is the same. Belfort believes, and I believe the same thing. Every client is different, but every sale is the same. They have to move through the same sales process. So look, apply some of these things I went over to your selling final expense over the phone. I promise it's going to completely change the game for you. If you haven't looked at any of his videos, check out some of Jordan Belfort's videos. Also, check out my videos on how to handle objections. I have a telesales mastery objection class video. Check that out. The link's in the description. It's also going to be at the end of this video. You'll be able to click on it to watch it. As always, subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you find value in this content.